We're checking out the morning scuppernong harvest. See which ones are ripe. Well, I can pick for a snack later on today, or maybe even for some breakfast. A lot of times you can't see right up close what's ripe, but as you start digging through the vines, you'll see there's a lot more ripe than you think. And while I'm at it, I'm also praying that the Pippins are able to purchase this property. The owner is being difficult in selling, but it would be the dream to have them right here so we could join our yards and really homestead in the city this. Hey, what's up everybody? So this is our first ever vlog, and I don't really know what it is we're doing, but I figured it was something that I just wanted to jump into. And so we're gonna try to do a weekly vlog, and so I thought that that was something that would be challenging creatively, but also creatively doable. So the opening scene that you saw was earlier this week. The scuppernongs have been coming in really well, and it's just really exciting. There's some of my favorite things. It just brings me back to childhood. The wild scuppernongs that I would go out into the woods and find, the muscadines, all that. Scuppernongs are actually part of the muscadine family. But the other thing that you might have heard me say was that the Pippins are trying to buy the house next to me. And that's really exciting. But we are a little frustrated with the fact that the owner of the house, even though the house is up for sale, he's not wanting to be responsive in selling it. So we'll see what he does, but they've put in some great offers. And so if he doesn't respond well, I might have to let Redneck April out of the trailer park, and she might have to make a few phone calls. I don't really want to do that because she's not the nicest person, but sometimes she can be very useful. So Lugoff might come in handy, but we'll see. I might have to call that buying agent. They're constantly sending me postcards trying to get me to sell my house. So, yeah, or not the buying agent, the selling agent. Anyway, so it would be the dream, though, to have the Pippins next door. We could kind of merge both of our yards. If I could find Caroline and Sims something nearby, maybe convince the houses behind us to sell. That would be great. And they might be up for it at some point, maybe, if we can get them a house big enough. Yeah, but that'd be really cool. We could have like a mega backyard. And then Brittany, who knows what Brittany's doing. And on the note of Brittany, I just want to kind of roast her right now because Brittany is super talented, a great friend, wonderful. But this is in case any of her students happen to find this. I just want to tell you something. Miss Odom doesn't turn her papers in on time either. So, Brittany has had some blog posts for our website, homesteadinthecity.com, that she's been writing, but it's really hard to get her to turn those in. So, that's what I want to tell you. If you are one of Brittany's students, or maybe a former student, you can rag her on that, especially if she gets on you about turning your papers in on time. Because Brittany's an English teacher, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, so this is just a nice public roasting. We don't talk about our friends behind their backs. We talk about them right in front of them. Where everybody can see it and hear it. But really, it would be the dream to have everybody kind of close together so that we could utilize all of our yards and all of our space. And maybe one day get that homestead, or maybe not. City limits is nice too. So we'll see about that. We have to get a lot better at what we're doing before we can go buy any large plots of land. And then the other things that we were up to this week, you may have seen the video where Zach and I went foraging for pawpaws. And pawpaws are cool little orange fruits. Well, they're orange inside. That are native to the area. And I grew up never knowing that they were edible. But they are. And so we went looking for them, and we thought we found a lot of them. And it turns out that what we found were not pawpaws. Well, we did find some pawpaws, but mostly we found walnuts. But we didn't know that walnuts, black walnuts, are green on the outside. So, yeah, there was a lot of discovery in that, and my hands are still stained from the walnuts. But that has led us to some new projects. I went foraging for more walnuts. Here's one of my spots that I found some. So I'm gonna be foraging through here. I think there's one over there. And yeah, just seeing through this tree has produced some. So that's where Zach was knocking them down the other day. But yeah, so now I've got an idea with walnuts, and I'm gonna see if I can get enough to achieve that idea. And then the plan with the walnuts is to not just use the nut inside, and I do have an idea for that, how we're gonna use the actual walnuts, but it just seems like a lot of waste, you know, because there's the outside, then there's the shell, and then there's actually the nut. And so I noticed with all my hand stains, and another project that we're doing has to do with some wood, which you'll learn about that later. But I was like, this would make a really good wood stain, because I mean, people do use black walnut for wood stains. And so we went to work trying to figure out how to extract the stain from the walnuts. Whoops, nope.
I'm not holding it.
We found out that maybe the best way to get the walnut juice out would be to leave them in water for a while. After some extensive research, talking to the think tank, we figured out that maybe that will work, because you have all these pieces of the walnut, but you can only eat a small amount. But anyway, one of the things I want to try with this is to extract the walnut coloring from the walnuts, and I'm gonna boil this down. I'm gonna boil it down after it soaks for a few more days, and then hopefully I'll be able to eat the walnuts inside, but boil down the liquid and turn that into a wood stain for a project that I'm doing that you will get to see eventually. And so hopefully from that we'll have some good results and might be able to really utilize those walnuts, because the search for pawpaws took us somewhere else and we're just along for the ride, so why not? One of the other things that's been on my list this week has been to transplant some trees that I've had growing since seed into a bigger pot. So I'm going to do that for the biggest one. I've had some lemon and grapefruit trees that have been growing for over a year, almost 2 years. I just planted the seeds, was surprised when something actually came up. And so out of all the things I've done, those are the things that have been surviving. And I mixed them up, so I can't tell which is the lemon and which is the grapefruit at this point. So I'm going to take the biggest one and put it in the pot, and hopefully it will thrive. Yeah, here are the trees that I have going on. This is the guy that I'm going to plant today in a bigger pot, move him. I have some rosemary that I've propagated that seems to be doing well so far, this little bucket, and here's some other we're just gonna say citrus trees. And then I have a pomegranate right there that has survived from seed. So probably be moving that guy too. Look at that root. So I let him go a little too long. This is gonna be interesting here. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rip you up as hard as I did. I was a little violent with that. And so I think it's funny, the stuff that I really don't try on seems to be the stuff that does the best. Anytime I get invested with a plant, it's pretty much game over for that plant. So I try to go about my garden in a very cool and casual, nonchalant way. I think that's probably the best plan for me. Let's see, we released our first episode of Guess the Method, and it's really the game where no one wins because it's a crazy recipe and you have to figure out, you get the name of the recipe and the ingredients list, and you have to figure out how it's made, and then the person who chooses the recipe then shows us how it's actually made, and we have to see who's the closest to that. And so this one was potato apples, and it was very interesting and not very tasty or appetizing. And so, but it's been fun to hear some of your feedback about the potato apples. And somebody said to me just today, it seemed pretty obvious in the name what you should do. And it was not obvious to me at all. But that's what's fun about it. What is each different person going to come up with when they hear the name of a recipe and have some ingredients in front of them? So that's what's going on this week. We're just really praying over Zach and Kara's offer on that house next door, because if that goes through, if they're able to get that house, then it's really going to be game on. We might get some chickens. I would like to have bees. I don't know where we're going to put the bees, or probably need to look into some city ordinances on that. But that would be really cool. And I think we can each have 4 chickens of our own per household. So we might do that to have some fresh eggs, etc. And then, of course, Brittany, get your posts in. I know you're a perfectionist, but you can do it. I believe in you. Get those posts in. Meet the deadlines. And then everybody wants to read what Brittany has to say, because it always is really good. We have another video. We've made a casserole and a little series called Make It for the First Time, and that's more of just a straight cooking series, except for the fact that I've never made what we're making before. And so you get to walk through it with us to see if the thing we're making turns out, but it's something that should be good. And what's coming up is another casserole to add to your repertoire. Since we've have a series on casseroles on the website, you can check that out. We're adding to that, and other recipes are being added to our catalog there. So that's what's going on. Thanks for watching this vlog, and hopefully I'll have all the others involved a lot more. This had to be thrown together pretty quickly, because once I decide we're gonna do something, I just go do it. And so that's why we are where we are. But it's good to see you, and we'll see you for the next video. Bye! Man, I almost ran into that glad he's moving on.